Any such thing as the perfect payday routine. Hi, I'm Cheryl and I talk about money as a working mum. I am on a journey to build financial freedom and I wanted to share with you how I managed my payday in 2026 as a working mum of two and very expensive costs. There's various different budgets out there, such as the 50-30-20 rule, but one thing that I struggle with is us sticking to a budget that doesn't quite fit my lifestyle. It's almost look at it from a priority-based view. Split my budget into 3 simple steps: bills, savings and spending. Let's talk about bills. I think it's so important to keep a roof over my head and all that type of stuff. So this is generally all my household bills. However, there are a couple of things included in this, such as debts and a couple of personal payments which I make, which has had a huge impact on my budget. But I always like to pay my bills first, and what I often try and do is move all my bills to payday. So those automatic payments, the direct debits, are coming out on or around payday. I find this incredibly beneficial as a working mum that has. I don't want the mental load of wondering, oh my gosh, has the energy bill been paid this month? I want to spend like an hour a month on my finances and sort of forget about it, if that makes sense. When payday arrives, then I'll go through the budget and I'll tick off when I've seen the payment leave my bank account. It's really important that I check that it has actually left, because sometimes you don't even notice and before you know it, it's been several months. I also like to check and see the amounts, because sometimes the payments change as well, so I want to make sure that my budget is balancing out as much as possible. The next section is savings. This is a bit where I used to struggle. Over time, I have slowly built a system which helps me even in my weakest moments. My savings is split into my lifetime ISA, my stocks and shares, premium bonds, and then just general saving. One of the first things I often try and do is set up a direct debit, because when I set up that direct debit, it's much more work to cancel it, especially if it comes out on payday. Before you notice it, it's already gone. Setting up direct debits, once again, like with my bills, has been incredibly helpful. And I often like to check to make sure that the payments have left my account. I also like to log in as well, and log in and look at the accounts to see the progress, because especially when it comes to investments, I am still learning so much around this. So I like to just get familiar with the website. And then finally, the next section is spending. And so this is where I group in not only the fun things that we do, but also the things that we want to buy and also our general day-to-day life. So the first couple of items are always groceries and fuel, and I pay close attention to the groceries and fuel by tracking my spending throughout the month and seeing if we align. When it comes to the groceries, if I'm not careful, I can easily spend double the amount. So I often like to try and track my spending and try and stick to a weekly budget. I've noticed that recently with the current cost of living, it's been almost impossible. I'm often adjusting the budget a little. This is where there's not necessarily wiggle room, but this is where I can sort of have some level of control on how much I'm spending on my groceries. Then the kids always need something, especially when it comes to school. This month we've had to buy school shirts because there's just so many stains that just nothing's getting them out. I'm often finding that I'm having ad hoc expenses for school, so I like to just track my spending in this particular area of my budget, because then it allows me to spot patterns. And I found that when it came to school, there was always something, whether it was a school trip, school uniform, replacing items, there was always something. So now I like to just have a school budget. Lots of other bits as well, so often there'll be events or birthday parties which I'll budget for, but this is where I'll adjust and play about with the numbers and prioritize. Really like this simple view, because at the end of it, when I've created my budget line by line, then I've checked off and made sure I've made those payments. Once everything's paid, then I tick everything off and I feel much more relaxed, and I can just get through the month with whatever's left. By using this method, every single month my bills are paid, I'm closer to my wealth goals, and I still have money to treat my kids, to treat myself, and to also have a little bit of fun by mindfully watching my spending. But what I really like about this, when I'm creating my budget, I will look at the 3 numbers at the top: the bills number, the overall I've spent towards my bills, the overall I've spent towards my savings, the overall I've spent towards my spending, and it allows me to question if I'm happy with how much I'm saving and I'm happy with how much I'm spending. If I'm not, then I can adjust it, but if I am, then that's great. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.